Los Angeles, a city celebrated for its sunshine, was once brought to its knees by a relentless enemy rain. In 1938, a series of catastrophic storms unleashed their fury, transforming the City of Angels into a scene of unimaginable devastation. This is the story of a forgotten disaster, a tale of resilience, and a stark reminder of nature's awesome power. The year 1938 began like any other in Southern California, with the sun casting its golden glow on the burgeoning metropolis. But beneath the veneer of normalcy, a potent threat was brewing. Weeks of unrelenting rainfall had saturated the earth, turning once placid rivers into raging torrents. The stage was set for a disaster of epic proportions. As the storm clouds gathered, few could have predicted the scale of the impending catastrophe. Los Angeles, with its rapidly growing population and sprawling infrastructure, was ill-prepared for the onslaught that was about to unfold. The city's vulnerability, masked by its outward prosperity, was about to be laid bare. The seeds of the 1938 disaster were sown long before the first raindrops fell. Decades of unchecked development had transformed the Los Angeles basin, stripping away natural vegetation and replacing it with concrete and asphalt. This urbanization had a profound impact on the region's hydrology, disrupting natural drainage patterns and increasing runoff. Adding to the problem was the city's insatiable thirst for water. To quench its growing population, Los Angeles had dammed and diverted rivers, altering the natural flow of water and leaving downstream communities vulnerable to flooding. The irony was cruel. The very measures taken to secure water for the city would ultimately contribute to its watery demise. The city's vulnerability was further compounded by a lack of adequate flood control infrastructure. While some efforts had been made to control the flow of the Los Angeles River, these proved woefully inadequate in the face of the 1938 deluge. The city, blinded by its own progress, had failed to heed the warnings of nature. On the night of March 2, 1938, the skies over Los Angeles unleashed a torrent of rain the likes of which the city had never seen. For hours on end, the relentless downpour continued, overwhelming storm drains and transforming streets into raging rivers. The city's fragile infrastructure, already strained by days of precipitation, began to crumble under the onslaught. As the floodwaters rose, panic gripped the city. Residents, caught off guard by the ferocity of the storm, scrambled for higher ground, many forced to flee their homes with nothing but the clothes on their backs. The deluge spared no one, rich or poor, as it tore through neighborhoods, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Amidst the chaos and despair, stories of courage and compassion emerged. Ordinary citizens, their own lives at risk, risked everything to rescue stranded neighbors and strangers alike. First responders, working tirelessly in treacherous conditions, battled to save lives and bring order to the chaos. By the time the storm finally subsided, Los Angeles lay in ruins. The floodwaters, receding as quickly as they had risen, left behind a scene of unimaginable devastation. Homes were reduced to rubble, businesses were destroyed, and entire neighborhoods were transformed into lakes of mud and debris. The Los Angeles River, once a meandering waterway, had transformed into a raging torrent, carving a path of destruction through the heart of the city. Bridges collapsed, roads were washed away, and thousands of homes were swept off their foundations. The city's infrastructure, already strained by rapid growth, was dealt a crippling blow. The human toll of the disaster was staggering. Over 100 people lost their lives, countless others were injured, and tens of thousands were left homeless. The flood had spared no corner of the city, leaving an indelible mark on the landscape and psyche of Los Angeles. Section 5. Heroes in the Storm. In the face of unimaginable devastation, the spirit of Los Angeles shone through. Ordinary citizens, transformed into heroes by circumstance, answered the call to duty, risking their own lives to save others. Their acts of courage and compassion stand as a testament to the indomitable human spirit. One such hero was a young woman named Harriet Kendrick, who, despite being heavily pregnant, braved the raging floodwaters to rescue her neighbors. Using a small rowboat, she ferried stranded residents to safety, her own safety a secondary concern. Her bravery saved countless lives and earned her the moniker the Angel of the Flood. Another unsung hero was George Dipple, a radio operator who tirelessly relayed messages between emergency responders and stranded residents. Working around the clock, Dipple became a lifeline for those cut off from the outside world, his calm voice offering hope in the midst of chaos. These stories of heroism, while just a small sampling of the countless acts of courage that took place during the flood, serve as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can prevail. Section 6. Picking up the pieces. In the aftermath of the 1938 flood, the people of Los Angeles faced the daunting task of rebuilding their shattered city. The recovery effort was monumental, requiring a massive mobilization of resources and manpower. Yet, amidst the devastation, a spirit of resilience and determination prevailed. The federal government, recognizing the scale of the disaster, provided much-needed aid, funding infrastructure repairs and providing assistance to displaced residents. The Army Corps of Engineers dispatched to the region played a pivotal role in rebuilding damaged infrastructure and implementing flood control measures. The flood also served as a catalyst for long-overdue reforms. The disaster exposed the inadequacy of the city's flood control infrastructure, prompting the construction of a vast network of dams, levees, and concrete channels designed to prevent a repeat of the 1938 catastrophe. The recovery process was long and arduous, but the people of Los Angeles persevered, their collective spirit unbroken by the disaster. The city, rising from the ashes, emerged stronger and more resilient than ever before. Section 7. Scars on the landscape. While the physical scars of the 1938 flood have long since faded, the disaster left an indelible mark on the landscape and psyche of Los Angeles. The event served as a stark reminder of the power of nature and the importance of respecting the delicate balance of the environment. The flood also had a profound impact on the city's development. In the aftermath of the disaster, Los Angeles embarked on an ambitious flood control program, transforming the Los Angeles River and other waterways into concrete channels. While these measures have undoubtedly prevented future flooding, they have also come at a cost, altering the natural environment and severing the city's connection to its waterways. The flood also had a lasting impact on the city's social fabric. The disaster, which affected people from all walks of life, highlighted the disparities between rich and poor, with low-income communities often bearing the brunt of the devastation. The flood served as a wake-up call, prompting efforts to address social inequality and improve living conditions for all Angelenos. Section 8. A forgotten disaster. Despite its scale and impact, the 1938 Los Angeles flood has largely faded from public memory. Unlike other major disasters, such as the San Francisco earthquake of 1906 or the Northridge earthquake of 1994, the flood is rarely discussed or commemorated. There are several reasons for this collective amnesia. One reason is the passage of time. Over 8 decades have passed since the disaster, and the generation that experienced it firsthand is dwindling. With each passing year, the flood recedes further into the realm of history, its lessons learned forgotten. Another factor is the changing nature of disasters. In an era marked by terrorism, wildfires, and pandemics, the threat of a natural disaster like the 1938 flood seems almost quaint. Yet, the possibility of such an event occurring again remains a very real threat. Perhaps the most significant reason for the flood's obscurity is the city's desire to forget. Los Angeles, a city defined by its optimism and forward-thinking spirit, has always been reluctant to dwell on the past. The flood, with its images of destruction and despair, stands in stark contrast to the city's carefully cultivated image of sunshine and prosperity. Section 9. Lessons Unlearned. The 1938 Los Angeles flood serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that even the most prosperous of cities are vulnerable to the forces of nature. The disaster highlights the importance of sustainable development, the need for robust infrastructure, and the critical role of social equity in mitigating the impact of natural disasters. The flood also underscores the importance of remembering past disasters. By studying past events, we can learn from the mistakes of our predecessors and develop strategies to prevent future tragedies. The lessons of the 1938 flood are as relevant today as they were over 8 decades ago. As Los Angeles continues to grapple with the challenges of climate change, population growth, and aging infrastructure, the memory of the 1938 flood serves as a potent reminder that the past is not always prologue. By heeding the lessons of history, we can build a more resilient and sustainable future for all Angelenos.